Welcome to the Recipe. I am your host, Red. Today on this excerpt from the Recipe Entertainment Podcast, I'm going to talk about the greatest day in Metroid fandom. The best day in the history of Metroid. November 18th, 2002. Now look, I'm very much aware that many of you probably weren't around back in November 18th of 2002. And for those of you who were around, maybe this date really doesn't resonate with you for the reason that I'm going to talk about right now. Maybe that's because you're a Nintendo fan who's not so much a Metroid fan. We know there's a lot of those that exist. We see the sales. We know. November 18th might mean GameCube's launch. November 19th, Wii launch. November 18th, Wii U launch. This is a significant day for Nintendo. But the one that's most significant for me, and I love those console launches, is November 18th, 2002. Come on, Red, stop beating around the bush. What happened on November 18, 2002 that makes it so special for Metroid fans? I'm going to get there. Just understand, prior to November 18, 2002, 8 years prior, Super Metroid released on Super Nintendo. And in between that time frame, yes, between Super Metroid and November 18, 2002, that 8-year gap, we watched Mario, Zelda, F-Zero, Star Fox, and many other IPs from Nintendo make the jump to 3D on the brand new Ultra. Wait, no, that's not the name. Nintendo 64. Yes, the codename Ultra 64. We were waiting for all of these IPs. So when we saw Zelda and we saw Mario, we were all waiting. We knew, well, Metroid can't be far. You know what I'm saying? Fire Emblem can't be far. And again, Pokemon made that jump to 3D. New IPs would be introduced, like Wave Race. We saw Pilot Wings. Yes, Pilot Wings from the Super Nintendo make the jump to also 3D. Bigger and better 3D on 64. And Metroid, we were still waiting. 64 would come and go. Not only did you get Ocarina, but you got Majora's Mask. Not only did you get Mario 64, but you got Donkey Kong 64. And games like Banjo that at the time were a Nintendo IP. You got all these other games. Mario Kart made its jump to 3D. You also got Diddy Kong Racing. Samus? Anyone? Samus? Samus? Got me over here like Bueller? Bueller? Samus? All right, so she's out sick. Samus did not appear on the Nintendo 64. That was a heartbreaking time for Metroid fans. It really was. And it's not spoken about enough. That Samus missed a pivotal time when everything was making that jump to 3D. Samus came a little bit later. You know? It happened in 2002. November 18th. Metroid Prime. For a long time, the best-selling entry in the entire Metroid series. That happened that day. But why is that day so special? No, it wasn't just because Metroid returned after an 8-year hiatus, after skipping one of the most pivotal generations for Nintendo. No. Not only did we get, finally, our Mario 64, our Ocarina of Time, our Star Fox 64 moment, our Mario Kart 64 moment with the Metroid IP. We made the jump to 3D. First person, FPA. We had 3D, third person, first person in there, all kinds of gameplay in there. An amazing feat from a brand new studios, Retro Studios, who honestly at the time, I think their only credit was the Torah games. And they had some failed stuff like Raven Blade and the football game that they were making for the GameCube, Nintendo's Dolphin. You know, we had screenshots and everything of like 5 different Retro Studios games, which none of them will ever come out. Metroid Prime did, though. And Metroid Prime was special because, yeah, while it was that jump, we also got a brand new, on the very same day, 2D Metroid entry. Yes, Metroid 4 came out the same day. And that's what made this day the best day as a Metroid fan. We were playing classic, albeit more linear. It's a different game, but still, classic 2D Metroid goodness. Moving the story forward. Learning about the X, the SAX, Atom, the Federation, all of that. That all happened at the same time we were traversing Talon and going into Magmor and Phendrana and Impact Crater. All of that was happening at the same time. And if you had the right things, you could actually connect these games. If you had a link cable for your Game Boy Advance to connect to your GameCube or your Game Boy Player and things like that, you could get your actual Metroid Fusion suits for your Metroid Prime Adventure. And that was incredible. Amazing. Something like that is super rare. To have a series go away, skip out on the whole generation, and then when it finally came back, I mean, talk about a 1-2 punch. Both fists balled up. Tom Poe glass on the fist. If you know, you know. All right, these hits were going to hit hard. And the best-selling entry, I mean, Fusion, what that did for gameplay and design and what will lead to Zero Mission and eventually Dread, so crucial to the IP. Just an incredible time, which brings me now to the next greatest days in the Metroid series, in the history of Metroid. You see the thumbnail. The thumbnail has already given it away. But I'm theorizing, I'm hoping, I'm dreaming, I am wishing that we get that dedicated Nintendo Direct for Metroid or overview video. And when it ends, they announce what you see in the thumbnail. On December 1st, 2025, Metroid Prime 1 Remastered will get its 4K enhancements, 120 frames per second mode on Nintendo Switch 2. On December 2nd, Metroid Prime 2 releases on Nintendo Switch 2 and 1. How? Whether that's 64, Nintendo Switch Online, which I hope it's not that, but that can be an option too if you want to make it that. But it releases, preferably for me, as a remaster, just like Metroid Prime 1. So that releases in whatever form, like I just said, whatever form, on December 2nd. On December 3rd, Metroid Prime 3 comes out. Yes, the third game comes out on the third day of December. Again, remastered, Nintendo Switch 1, Nintendo Switch 2, upgrade paths and all of that. You know the drill already. And then finally on December 4th, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond finally hits store shelves, hits the digital Nintendo eShop store, and we're now in Metroid heaven. Yeah, there's not a large window there for you to go through Prime 1, 2, and 3 before getting to 4, but damn it, they're all out now on Nintendo Switch 2. You can play the entire Prime saga on Nintendo Switch 2, which then goes into 2026, right? And the 40th anniversary, now you can sell a physical, because I'm talking digitally, December 1st, December 2nd, December 3rd, right? Physical, obviously, Prime 4 will be out physical. But these other games, the original trilogy, obviously you could get the physical version of Prime 1 right now. You can go get that. But I'm saying 2 and 3, digital. Obviously the upgrade to Switch 2 and all that, that's a digital thing. You get your Switch 1 physical version of Prime 1, enhance it on Switch 2, whether that's free or not. I don't know. That's not the point. The point is on December 1st, Prime 1, on December 2nd, Prime 2, on December 3rd, Prime 3, and on December 4th, Prime 4. And in 2026, finally release them physically on Nintendo Switch 2, all on the cart. All on the cart. Yes, Prime 1, 2, 3, 4, and make it a special, but not limited, edition of the collection for the 40th anniversary. And then in that same year, you can have your, Metroid 6 finally revealed. And that's a beautiful 40th for Metroid. Look, Mario got its 40th stuff announced. I mean, it's Mario. That was always going to happen. But it is a little bit shaky when you realize it's like, there's a lot of birthdays next year. And there are a lot of 40s. Mario being one, Zelda being one, Metroid being one. And I'm sure there's others. But the point is, Zelda hasn't really gotten anything talked about, highlighted. We don't know nothing. People are wishing for Ocarina of Time remake. I'm wishing for a complete recreation of Zelda 2. That's a whole different thing. But anyway, we all got our hopes and dreams for Zelda for the 40th. Well, these are mine for Metroid's 40th. Metroid 6 announced for next year. I know some people be like, oh, I'd rather have a Super Metroid remake. Fine. Metroid 6 just gets announced next year. See, I'm still keeping mine. But Metroid, Super Metroid, gets remade for the 40th anniversary, releases actually next year. There you go. But this collection of Prime games would be incredible to have. And again, you can make a special edition and make it mad expensive and beautiful and steel book and books and all this other crap. A new volume of the Metroid book that's about to come out that now includes everything from Prime 4. Since that can now all be spoiled. And that comes in it, and then eventually at the end of the year, you can just spread that as regular purchasable things. All your, your physical version of the game now don't come in a steel book and all that. It's just a regular Switch cart with all the games still on it. And in the book, you can now finally get it separate outside of the, special collector's edition 40th anniversary Metroid bundle thing, and just spread it out Metroid all throughout the year. That'll be great. And it would start this year, at the end of this year. I know it's crazy to think like Nintendo would ever drop all these things at the same time. They dropped 2D Metroid and 3D Metroid at the same time. Didn't they drop Pikmin 1 and 2 and 3 on Switch 1 like literally right before Pikmin 4 came, like literally like a month or a few weeks before Pikmin 4 would drop? So this is not like something that they wouldn't do. And if it was just remastering the first game that's already available and then dropping 2 into a Switch Online and then being like, yeah, we gotta ask you 3 re-release, and it's like, damn, but then 2 gets the short end of the stick. I don't want that. I'm just saying there's multiple ways that they could go about this. You know what I mean? But I think that they could do it, and it's right there. You made Metroid Prime 4 come out on the 4th day of December. Prime 1 ain't on Switch 2 properly. Prime 2 ain't on Switch 2 at all. And Prime 3 hasn't been on nothing other than, well, it stopped at Wii, Wii U. It stopped during the legacy of Wii, during that run of Nintendo hardware. Prime hasn't seen the light of day, Prime 2 or 3 on Switch hardware, just one. So it would be an awesome time to do it. And to do it like that would be mad funny because I think so many people are like, damn, I didn't even see it. 1, 2, 3, right there. Right there. And so many of us feel like, oh, there's no time for them to drop, the Prime games. Sure there is if they just drop them this year, just like they did Prime 1 and be like, oh, yeah, it's digital first and then it's going to come digital, physically later, you know what I'm saying? After the digital first initial few months. I can easily see that being a thing. And putting it all together like that, one, the optics of it would just look cool. And it's the perfect time frame for the schedule that Nintendo got right now. You got Zelda. They just dropped the trailer. I'm about to talk about that soon. A trailer for Zelda. They just, Age of Imprisonment. They just came out with Pokemon. They just dropped an incredible Nintendo Direct for Kirby Air Riders. What a, jam-packed, feature-filled game that is. So, yeah, now it feels like, where would you put it? Where would you put Prime 1, 2, and 3 if you was going to release it before Prime 4? At this point, I just asked myself, where would I put it? And I looked at the calendar and I said, oh, snap, right there. 1, 2, 3. Why not? You don't have to buy them all day one. You know what I'm saying? You could play 4 and then be like, nah, I know they there. And I'm going to pick them up. Hell, you could buy them day 1 and not even get to them till, after you're done with 4. Your 4th playthrough. Your 3rd playthrough. You know what I'm saying? Nah, like you could literally be like, yeah, you know what? I beat Prime 4. Now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then my 2nd playthrough of 4 is right there. So me personally, if they did this, I would be ecstatic. I would be super happy. I think this would be the greatest release for Metroid ever. It would definitely top, and those are 2 brand new games, Fusion and Prime. But this, yes, the 3 old games being brought up to current jiggly wigglies, you know what I mean? Current power levels of Nintendo Switch 2 and having Prime 4, which is probably going to be the biggest Prime game of all time, the biggest Metroid game of all time. Oh yeah, this will be the greatest day for Metroid fans. Period. And the 40th anniversary could be so special if at least we get the teaser for Metroid 6. It could be super special. So yeah, those are my thoughts on us getting Prime 1, 2, and 3 on Nintendo Switch 2. I know it's a crazy release schedule, but damn, wouldn't it be cool? Let me know what you think. Do you think that this would be a cool idea? Do you think it's actually possible that this is going to be announced and actually going to happen? And if it did happen, would you get all of them this year, or would you just wait and get them right when like you're about to play them? You know, if there was a crazy collection, matter of fact, that dropped on December 4th, where it's like, yeah, there's a eShop bundle where you can get everything, and there's maybe like a $20 discount from buying everything, you know, combined. So if it's like, oh, all of it combined, it comes out to like 150. They shave off 20 if you get it all, you know, at once in a collection like that. Maybe like that's like a special, you know, discount for the bundle for getting everything. That'd be cool too. But would you be down? Would you get that? I think a lot of y'all definitely would be excited about this. I think a lot of y'all would be upset that it wasn't spread out throughout the year. But I think at the end of the day, that wouldn't really last because you're just going to be happy. It's like, I got all of them though. They're all there, you know? And some of y'all might just be crazy enough to be like, you know what? How long is Prime 2 and 3? Okay, so speedrunners could beat those games in under 10 hours. Most people play these games on their first playthrough. It's about 25 to 30 hours. All right, so there's 24 hours in the day. There's 48 hours before. Because I'm not even counting one. Let's say you played one already, you know, remastered it. You're like, I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to just get to 2 and 3. You're like, yo, there's 48 hours left, you know, from the second to the fourth. I can do it. And not sleep and just bulldoze your way through everything. This was gonna happen. You're gonna beat 2, you're gonna beat 3, and you're gonna go your ass to sleep on the 4th. You ain't playing Metroid Prime 4 Beyond until the 5th because you're gonna be exhausted. But now you're gonna have so much burnout. Nah, man, hey, listen, this the good kind of burnout you want. You know, that space pirate bossing, bounty hunter serving Samus Aran ass. You know what I mean? I don't know. Listen, I would be super excited. I would be super happy. Me just thinking this up, I was like, you know what? I don't even want to say it because now if it don't come true, it's going to be so disappointing. It's right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I wanted to share it because if it does happen, I just wanted it on wax that, yeah, man, I predicted that. I predicted that. But let's see. Will Nintendo be that crazy? I'm going to be honest with y'all. I think they are that crazy to do it. Like right now, you can't predict nothing Nintendo going to do. You would never predict like after the sales of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that Mario Kart, the game named World, that is a launch title for the Nintendo Switch 2, will literally get outclassed in every single facet by a Kirby Air Rider sequel. That's wild. And it's crazy to say it like outclassed. Cause I know there's certain things you could be like, oh, this one maybe has more characters. Like, bro, what they showed for Kirby Air Riders, that is a full featured game, top to bottom, with so much content. So much content. Like, that whole hour went by so fast because it was just bang, 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 just hitting you with feature after feature after feature. And I was like, this is insane. And this is not shade to Mario Kart, because I think this game, we got it confirmed. And I've always thought that this would be a one and done, no DLC, no nothing. Mario Kart, they cooking. I'm sure they're cooking. And they're going to build on that. And anybody who's saying anything about it, they eventually going to, you know, have to eat their words because it's going to turn into something beautiful. Always remember what Mario Kart 8 was before it became Deluxe, before it became Booster Course Pass. Now, I know. There was like a 10-year development for that. But I'm just saying, it's clear that Mario Kart will be the one to continue to get content. Kirby Air Riders is just a feature-filled game all on its own. It's a one-and-done thing. It probably isn't ever going to see another sequel unless this thing sells like over 10 million. But yeah, it's a wild time we living in as Nintendo fans. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I wouldn't put it past them to be wild enough to say, yeah, you know what? December is going to be a Metroid holiday. So this Christmas, enjoy Metroid Prime 1, 2, 3, and 4, all on your Nintendo Switch systems. Bam. I would be ecstatic. I know I said that already, but honestly, that would be the coolest thing to happen for Metroid, like, ever. And with that, I am done. So hopefully you will screw attack that like button, screw attack that subscribe button, and come through for the next Metroid video. And check out the previous Metroid videos that I made, because those are fantastic as well. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see y'all on the next mission. Peace.